us. Hope you had a good weekend. Okay, Monday, on to our business. And the cabinet reshuffle is where we shall be revisiting. Ever since the cabinet was reshuffled by the president, and, you know, there's been commentary. So we're continuing that commentary today and other matters as we see fit. Our guest is Are Oladotun Hassan. He's president of the Yoruba Council Worldwide. He joins us via Zoom this morning. A fine morning to you, Are.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be on your studio this morning.
Indeed.
Good morning.
Indeed. Thank you very much for making the time for us. Okay. Maybe I should take it from the point of view of a general view. All of this is predicated on, one, repositioning the administration for better performance, better service. We've been hearing that how the president arrived at the whole process was, you know, like scientific, you know, the person in charge of monitoring the performance of the ministers, they had worked out a formula. Long story short, some ministers had been excused. Now, there's so many things that we could talk about, but I suppose one of the biggest ones would be the Ministry of Regional Development that has been created following the scrapping of the Ministry of the Niger Delta. But before we go into specifics, could you give me your overview on this whole matter?
Well, we have to look at it from different prisms, especially the people's expectations, because democracy represents government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Okay.
Once the people are either satisfied or not satisfied with your decisions, it predicts on the government to re-amend. And there is no error for the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to re-amend the recent reshuffling because the firepower we expected, the kind of jig and the kind of expectation was like a watershed. There is no much vigor, especially considering the new ministries created. Some are for advancement and harmonization of our growing democracy. But while the other might have just turned around to be calling for a lot of demands, especially considering the appointment, reshuffling, and removal of some ministers. I think before the removal, what the Mr. President ought to do is to let us see the performance indicator result from Hadiza Bala Mohammed, who, if she's thoroughly screening or she has screened the attitude, the commitment, the vigor expected of the appointment, if those things must have been done earlier, would have proven beyond reasonable doubt that the result of removal of some of the ministers was thoroughly genuine enough to maybe miss the expectation of the people. So, but what is going on now is the fact that the people are not satisfied. The Niger Delta people are not satisfied. They seem to look at it from a prism of, oh, there is total neglect, there is no proper consultation. And I believe Mr. President needs to understand that this country is a nascent and growing country. When the people of Niger Delta came up with the Ministry of Niger Delta was to resolve the hostage taking and the pipeline and all these crises that was bedeviling the entire area of the Niger Delta then. And if for the fact that have in one way addressed their clamor, we cannot out of show of wanting to harmonize the new regional commission that has been created, it will be conflicting if those regional commissions are not complete in 6 for South-South, Southeast, Southwest, Northeast, North Central, and Northwest. Let everyone know that these commissions are exclusive for them. Then there is nothing, I want to repeat, nothing is stopping us having different ministries so that every region will have a fake minister representing their region. So we don't need to consult with the governors of our region before. All we need is that our central minister, what is happening in this area, your attention must be needed there. whatever that is the entire gamut of interest of those regions must have been captured. So the fact that Mr. President was able to establish the Ministry of Livestock to treat the interest of the Fulani herdsmen, the regional ministry should also be given exclusive reserve. So there is nothing, it is not a wastage of resources than to really bring governance closer to the people. In as much as we have the maybe some of the ministers that were never touched and they are never even performing more or less, whatever that Mr. President must have done was for a good intention but was misplaced and was misrepresented by those advising Mr. President that they have not met the expectation of the people. And I want to implore Mr. President, as the President of the Yoruba Council Worldwide, as far as we in the Southwest are equally concerned, we have our bites that we are yet to see some fundamental attention in terms of road infrastructure within the region. You cannot move freely from Shagamu, Badon, and some other all of our expressway. This is our own demand. We equally need some infrastructural networks for the fact that there is the new coastal road that is going up, which has met with some legal brick walls. There is a need for proper consultation. So the regional ministry, in as much as we know how regionalism benefited more as a people before we find ourselves in this contractual or presidential system, the regionalism is still development. And Mr. President, don't see it as a demand of dividing all of us. Let the Southeast, if Madam Bianca Ojukwu is to represent the Southeast interest or to represent the enigma of Chief Emeka Ojukwu dynasty and the Southeastern people, which some of the Southeastern brothers and people were presumably seeing it as more political, it should have been better as the minister for the Southeastern people so that they would know that their region, they can know who to hold responsible. We know the Ministry of Foreign Affairs requires a lot of other nuance, but Mr. President should look at preference for some of the demands of the people. In as much as demand for restructuring is to bring governance close to the people, we applaud his local government autonomy decision to ensure that people get more benefit. But at the Federal Executive Council, those that would implement some of all these regional demands, one ministry cannot do that job, especially a ministry that has been converted with all its earlier belonged to take the process to arrive at development under Ministry of Regional Development. But it's more better, Mr. President, breaks the ministry into 6. Let everybody hold their mother's breast and suck from it so that we all can have even development and resources. Just as the Niger Delta people's resources they are clamoring for resource control, the same resources within every region. We have oil in the Southwest, we have gold, we have everything. Let our resources be for the common benefit of the regions. And let each region commit their royalty to the federal government so that the people who are at the center of development would have achieved more to their own betterment.
Okay. You know, a lot of people immediately began to wonder. We knew that this change was coming, was going to come. In fact, the president had said that, you know, he would not be shy to do this if he felt that there was a need. But how the decisions were made is another matter. We're not too sure, but we do have Mr. Bayo Ononuga, special advisor to the president on information and strategy, who has said that actually the changes that have been reflected have largely been as a result of the input of the Nigerian people. Not many people might have realized that, and apparently this is something that Hadisa Bala Usman reportedly has introduced. Hence, they are saying that it was scientific, if you want to look at it detached of emotion. Apparently, they were, you know, conducting surveys, you know, quietly, and the point, I think, the construction I think Bayo Onanuga had made is that it might not necessarily have been Mr. President's impression, but this was what was brought forward by empirical data. This is a terminology that Hadiza Bala Usman has used in the past, that her job will be done with empirical data. You said that there are some, if it goes back to the public, there are those who will be wondering that why weren't some actually affected? They might have said, as far as they are concerned, these people could usefully be changed, but that didn't happen. So there still is that. And in fact, I even saw some in the north somewhere. I think it was the Minister of Education who has also been, relieved of his appointment, who had people actually demand, somebody was demanding a reversal of that decision, that perhaps it might have happened as a result of, unclear understanding of what the situation was. So you see, you have this, but look, the president reserves the right to change any of his ministers, but this particular one that you were speaking about earlier, the Ministry of Regional Development, there are those who think it will be a humongous ministry where just about every Nigerian would have a quote-unquote mansion within its premises. Wouldn't that be unwieldy, is the worry of some as we go along?
Yes, let me first of all clarify that opinionated reasoning of Ajad Baladiza,
yes,
or to have said that. I would want to disagree that there was no empirical survey, because you are the people to solve it. We are the people, we are ethnic leaders. Nobody reached out to us to know which ministry is performing, even by regional conquest or interest or political arrangement. It was just some in-house decision that were never far thought. And I reasoned properly that Achuaju wouldn't have endorsed that thing if he were to be properly thought to the fullest, because he wouldn't have want to step on the toes of the Niger Delta that gave him all enormity of support. There are some certain things you don't joke with. Looking at the statement from Asari Dokubo, we are not betrayal in Yoruba land. I'm correcting that. There was an error of mismanagement of information, and realignment that was done was put together by people who might not even understand what federalism is all about. So,
well,
I'm coming.
Are, when you say that, of course, I don't need to tell you, that the president has the ultimate and a final decision.
Yes,
and talking about federalism, I would, go out on a limb and say that one of the experts on this subject, arguably, would be the man, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, coming from way, way back. So there is the question that you raised about, please go ahead.
Achuaju is a Democrat. Let me say something. Achuaju is that I know is a Democrat that ends his opinion on superiority of argument. If you're able to point some problems that this will lead to some challenge, he's somebody who's very quick to reverse some decisions. And we've seen it in the recent times. When there was the increment of electricity tariff, he cut it off immediately. When there was a demand for the maybe for the cyber security billing, he cut it off immediately. So what we are talking here is the people's opinion. The people's opinion is the fact that this whole realignment, some of the removal, like the removal of the Minister of Education, I don't see reasons for that. Bringing in a Ministry of Health Minister and bringing to the education sector, it might have some certain reasons, but some certain things will send some wrong signal, especially within the terrain of ethnic accretions and other things that we knew how the 2023 election went about. So we want to guide the president positively on the right pedestal. And as a true leader in Yoruba land, we only want Mr. President to succeed. And for him to succeed, he needs to listen to the people. The Niger Delta leader have raised fundamental demand. Mr. President need not wait the second day to recall the ethnic leaders for a more, even within his opinion that, oh, if this thing is like this, what we expect from Mr. Bayo Onanuga is not to defend everything. Some certain matters are indefensible, especially when it comes across ethnic lines. Niger Delta people, they are as sensitive as they are. That's the same way the Southwestern people are equally sensitive and the Northern people as well. In view of the fact that there is a need for realignment of the ministries of culture and tourism, yes, those are good. Yes. The realignment of one ministry of youth, yes, those are good. The consideration of a sports commission and closing down sports ministry, those are good. But in all fairness, some certain, in as much as we have raised fundamental demand, there is a need that those is not, Mr. President. Let me correct one thing. It is the citizens' exclusive preserve to tell how Mr. President needs to guide us because we elected him. That is what democracy presumes. It is only in a military setup that you mount dictatorial position. And Mr. President is not a dictatorial or totalitarian president. And I believe he listens constructively to people's demand. And we expect him to make amends. But where we are driving our opinion is the fact that Mr. President should convert Ministry of Niger Delta to Ministry of South-South. So far, we have already had our own region of Southwest Development Commission. Let Ondo also come under the Southwestern interest. If there is oil-producing community, they need to also realign the act that established the NDDC so that it will not just be Niger Delta oil-producing community. It must be the regional resource management community, not only oil. Every region is to produce. There must be resource management of our natural resources. So within the natural resources, oil is just one out of the natural resources that is being extracted. In Zamfara, the gold and if that is extracted from there, where is it on our national data? If not for the Ministry of Mineral Resources that is trying to correct some the age-long anomalies within the management of our mineral resources. You go to some places in the Southwest, we have gold. You only see China, maybe Chinese individual extracting these mineral resources without proper alignment to how much of money that is being making that is being put into the federation account. So if the oil money is to go to federation account, we want the gold money and the diamond money in Zamfara to also go to this federation account so that the citizens will know that when these monies are redistributed on fair, people will know that RAPFAC is doing justified reason that it's not only oil. If agriculture is to be our mainstay, equally, money from agricultural earnings must also come to federation account, not private individual. So we need some certain re-engineering and restructuring of our governance structure. And that is one of the reasons why Yoruba Council recently is planning to bring all our Obas together so that we can have a conference of summit of all the people on Southwest to reason together and call ourselves on a unified ground to assess some of the development in the country. What are the areas the traditional institutions are equally playing roles in governance? And that's what led the Yoruba Council to bring about the Yoruba Oba Summit coming up on the 7th of next month in Lagos at Ikate. So for us, we believe that we can achieve fundamental growth when citizens converse together, when citizens are given breath of fresh air to think and align with the government. So the government cannot do it all alone. Mr. President needs to think in alliance with the people that, let him review the fact that a ministry and a commission for the South people be established so that there will be that everybody have, there is this sensitivity that we have in Nigeria here. Everyone loves their ethnic alignment. You can never take that out of us for the fact that we are all Nigerians.
I was going
to ethnic interest.
I was going to come to that, and thank you so far, because really the purpose of this program, it didn't happen yesterday. This event that we're talking about didn't happen yesterday, but the purpose of the program is to continue to bring perspectives on what has gone. Now, in relation to quite a bit that you have said, one understands it, you being the President, Yoruba Council worldwide, indeed, that's as it should be. But the President will probably be the first to say that he's the President of Nigeria, the entirety of Nigeria. It doesn't matter where his extraction is from.
Yes.
The Northwest, the Northeast, and Southeast, all of these places are equally as important to him as the President, I imagine, would be his mindset. Now, when you said this situation doesn't call for Bayo Onanuga to be defending, I think he was just explaining. I think that is my personal opinion, that he was explaining how this result was achieved. And I think we've all known that the Special Advisor on Policy and Coordination to the President, Hadiza Bala Usman, was going to play a very key role in this. The fact that she has brought, when they say scientific, statistical, methodologies to bear, such that enabled by Onanuga to say that, you might not see it, as clearly as you need to, but this action was really, shall we say, this was an action that was really conducted by the Nigerian people. But as you said, I don't remember when my opinion was asked. I can't readily remember.
The same year.
Yeah, but maybe they have their ways of gathering all of these data. So just to sort of put that in perspective, one, President Tinubu is going to be saying that he's the president of the entirety of Nigeria, even if he is a Yoruba man, and he probably isn't. He listened to the man from the Southwest as keenly as he will be listening to the man from the Southeast or Northwest or wherever. So we'll come back on that. The Ministry of Regional Development is not the only one. In fact, you've touched on a number of ministries yourself that you see the reasoning therefrom. But so that I don't interrupt you when you start to speak, I'll quickly go on a break. We'll be right back. We'll continue this conversation and take calls from the home. Do please stay with us. Okay, welcome back. And we're looking at the aftermath, if you like, of at least one of the phases of it, of the the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu reshuffling his cabinet and positioning it, that was the intention, positioning it for better effectiveness. And the point has been made, and I made that point to our guest, that the Special Advisor, on Bayo Onanuga, on Information and Strategy, had said that this was conducted by some, scientific, statistical methodologies, such that effectively you could say this was the viewpoint of the Nigerian president, even if it wasn't necessarily the way the president might have seen things. I'm paraphrasing Bayo Onanuga here. Maybe the jury is out on that. We'll see what you think. But we have Barrister Uju Ken Ohaniye, Lola Adejon, Professor Tahir Maman SAN, Abdullahi Mohammed Guarzo, and Dr. Jamila Bio. These ladies and gentlemen were relieved of their appointment, and some new ones were added. Okay, so you have a list of the new ministers that will be presented to the Senate for confirmation. Okay, so here we are. The objective of the president in this, exercise is to, and bearing in mind what Bayo Onanuga said, that it might not necessarily have been the way Mr. President might have seen it, but the mechanism that had been put in place has come up with this result, and he ran with it. Okay, we'll need to see how well this new team will be doing. It's not entirely it's not entirely a new team in that quite a number of those ministers are in place. Just 5 of them, I believe. 5 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just 5 of them, have been relieved of their duties, and there have been some replacements. There have been those who have commented that, so what's going on? If you take out 5 and you replace with 7, where is the place of reducing governance, the size and cost of governance? So let me bring that point to you, Are, that other point about the need to reduce the size and the expense of a government, does that play in at all from the lie of the ground right now? Does that play in at all? Could you just check your phone? I think, I hope you're not on mute or something.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
So let us consider the need for necessity above because there is no constitutional provision on the amount of ministers or reduction. We are the only people just clamoring that we have over bloated ministries and it is adding on the cost of governance. Constructively speaking, there is nothing stopping us from having departmental structural areas of interest as far as development is concerned. In as much as it is just all about the people at the ends of affairs, sometimes that are dwindling our resources selfishly. The ways and manners some persons corruptly enrich themselves. That's why our argument is not really on the support in the area of more increase in ministry. Just like the way I've raised it here now.
Yes.
If they were to constructively get us the ministry, it will be more than the 7 that they just announced. Because ordinarily they have to give us 6 regional ministries, whereby, because what led to the regional ministry or regional development ministry is as a result of the recent yet to be established some of the inaugurated regional development commission, which is incomplete. And that is why if it is going to be regional, like the argument of the Joint National Congress leader that, oh, what about the South-South Development Commission? The South Development Commission was under the last administration of Muhammadu Buhari. It was shut down. But the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, find reason, absolute reason, that there is a need for regional development commission to come on board. What we want is that let that circumference be completed, that every region, we are 16 regions, every region must be given equitable fair share of their interest. Yes. The Niger Delta Ministry that we all know earlier was a ministry more that is concentrated more within the South-South region with attachment of the Ondo State and some other southeastern states. But now that we are now having Regional Development Commission, Southwest will be having 2 shares of interest, one under the NDDC or the Niger Delta that we are having now, and we'll also be having interest in the NDDC. So what we want is the fact that Mr. President should ensure.
Don't you think we need to wait and see how these things might be adjusted? Because it does seem a bit one kind.
There is no time.
Let me tell you to have a region benefiting.
We have already extended over 16 months now.
From 2
we have extended 16 months. Yes. No, we have already seen how tomorrow will look like. That's why we are quickly putting Mr. President on his track.
All right.
That we want you to succeed. We are the ethnic leaders. We meet every day. I'm the Secretary General of the Nigeria Ethnic Nationality Leaders. I have the intelligence report of the need of our people. And if we are giving opinion via this platform, our opinion should go directly to Mr. President to make amends.
Okay. I'll tell you what, excuse me, please. A viewer has been holding on for quite a bit now, and I didn't want to interrupt you. I wanted you to land with your ideas. But thank you, Mr. George Inikeja, for holding on for quite a bit. Please go ahead now. Mr. George? Okay. I've kept you waiting. I felt from when I was told that you were online, on the phone. But can you hear me now? Mr. George Inikeja, can you hear us? Hello, Mr. George Inikeja, can you hear us?
Good morning, can you hear me?
Yes, I just heard you.
And good morning to the guest.
Okay.
Uncle, the subject of discussion today is large.
Yes.
But I'll be happy if you can give me on 90 seconds to
Sure.
speak on only 3 ministries.
Sure, please go ahead.
On the list. Uncle Yori, out of the about 50 ministers that the president has, we all know that only about 10 of them are working or outstanding. So I'm surprised that it's only 5 ministers that were asked to exit. The rest were untouched, at best, reshuffled. I don't know the basis, for example, why the power minister should still be there. The national grid is collapsing almost on a weekly basis. The GENCOs, the generating companies, are generating, or even Buhari left, they were generating about 8,000 megawatts, which cannot be transmitted because of weak transmission equipment. The minister is not interested in that. He's only interested in discos. He wants the 3,000 megawatts or at best 5,000 megawatts that is passing through to discos for distribution. He wants to make trillions out of that money. He's only interested in how much he can make for 5,000 megawatts for 200 million people. When South Africa is 69 million people, is having 40,000 megawatts. The minister has not even shown his roadmap since he came to power. All what he's doing is to help discos to squeeze blood out of people. They took away my meter that was working, that the meter is outdated, and started giving me almost 500,000 naira per month as estimated bill under this their fraudulent band A. It is not allowed. It is not ideal. The president is not being given the truth by this minister. And then you have culture minister. Even as the ministry was beforehand, I have not seen anything that lady has done. For example, we have this entertainment industry in Nigeria. The music industry alone can become a money hub for this country. This minister has not said or done anything in that regard, and they are adding more parastatals. Doesn't make sense. You also talk about the blue ministry, blue economy. That blue economy ministry also involves a lot of money. There's a lot that has been telling us in this country that if you give him that ministry, he will give the Nigerian government 7 trillion naira a month in revenue. This ministry that has been there for over a year now, we are not seeing signs. I may be ignorant, I need to be corrected. I've not seen signs to show that this is the way that sector is going, this is what to expect. This is a new ministry like the Solid Mineral Ministry, which Dele Alake is heading. Everybody is seeing it. We are seeing what he's doing. He has even gone to the extent of launching a security outfit for protection of that asset. We haven't seen anything in that regard. So if it is only 10 ministers that we are seeing that are working, how is it that out of 50, only 5 have been asked to go? I think the president should revisit that list.
All right.
That's my view.
Thank you very much for calling in with it, Mr. George. Quite a number of points there. He did say it's a large subject that we're sort of looking at today. His very first port of call was the power ministry. And as you know, we've heard from the power minister and also other commentators that the situation of Nigeria's power delivery is such that it is actually suffering from long-standing neglect that cannot be fixed in a jiffy, so to speak. But this is just what has been said. What would be your sort of reaction to the points that were made by that caller?
Well, I that is the people's opinion, and I don't know where Mr. Dizza got our empirical opinion. These are the real opinion of the masses, and they are saying it genuinely on the premise that has no political coloration. And it is very interesting that democracy is about listening to the people. For the fact that the power minister, to me, just like every other person, the same complaint is what I also equally have. There's no proper alignment of their decision. Their policy documents and policy decisions are not in tandem with the people. You came up with the incremental tariff increment without solid power generation, power distribution, without solid infrastructure. So collecting money will not have solved our problem. For us, we just believe that our opinion here that we are trying to share is not to castigate anyone. It's about the people. And the appointment is not about ethnicity. It's about performance indicator. And we say, over the 50 ministries, some ministers are not even known to us. From their date of appointment till date, even some are still hidden under the camera for the fact that their names were never mentioned. That's why we say, let them give us the performance results published in National Daily. Let us give us the Citizen 7 days and let us call our ministers. Sometimes it is better to allow Mr. President to equally know that what we are saying is for him to succeed. So for us, what we need is the fact that the intention of Mr. President for cabinet reshuffle, people were expecting more higher groundbreaking reshuffling with injection of people. We have technocrats that are ready to deliver, work 24/7, not like they had mentioned over 10 ministries that we are seeing daily that they are on top of their duty post. Some just find it as a relaxing up. Some see the ministry as their personal aggrandizement. And the removal of the Minister of Women Affairs was just one of such examples. So with some removals are justified.
Okay, sorry, Are, let me slip in. Philip, I beg your pardon. Are,
so what we are doing.
Are Oladotun, sorry, let me just bring in Philip, who has called in from Warri. Good morning, Philip. Philip in Warri, good morning to you, sir. Philip called in from Warri. Can you hear us? Good morning, Philip. Well, okay. In case, well, Philip, I wonder.
Very good morning, sir.
Oh, okay, Philip has come through. Good morning, Philip. Thank you for calling in.
Very good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead, please.
Very good morning.
Good morning, sir. I can hear you and I've been answering. Please go ahead now.
Philip is calling from Warri, sir.
Okay, thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
I'm a first-time caller.
Oh, we're delighted to have you, Philip. Thank you very much for calling in.
Okay. Like what other people are contributing anyway.
Yes.
With my own, with due respect to our president, I don't think there's any reason for him to keep the Minister of Power. Because this is 2 years down now. Like the last caller has just said, we have never seen his roadmap. We have never seen what he's doing. And people are complaining, you will pay for meter, you will not get your meter. They will bring estimated bill, nobody to cry to. It's like we don't have anybody to cry to. And if you don't pay, they will disconnect your light. So what justifies the estimated bill? And who collect those estimated bills? So I want to beg Mr. President, he should look inward. Yes, thank God he's on board now. Thank God for what he did when he was in Lagos. And thank God that put him there now. So we should look inward and remove those ones that are not performing. Some that are not performing, sir. Please help us to beg Mr. President to still look inward and do the needful.
Okay.
That's the little contribution I want to make this morning. God bless you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling. It's quite important. You know, the president, Are, the president had...
Yes, sir.
He had opined that... I think we had been told, it was Bayo Ononuga again, the special advisor on information and strategy, who had, intimated us with the fact that they within the administration think that some people are doing well. But the point is, they seem to be shy about it, or they might not be extroverted about it. And I think that idea had been shot at, that, look, you need to go out there and let the people know what you are doing. To paraphrase them within the administration, we know what you are doing, but you need to sell it to the people. You need to let the people know what's going on. Apparently, you know, ministers, maybe this is sort of a note for the ministers that will be appointed and that remain, that so that we don't have another one like this, you need to go out there quite aggressively. You can't be shy. You can't be a shrinking violet. You must be able to trumpet from the rooftops what it is you're doing. And if you don't do so, then it perhaps means that you're not doing much. Okay, in the meantime, just before you answer, sir, let me bring in Mr. Yakub, who has called in from Dokwemu, so you can take both together. Good morning, Mr. Yakub.
Yeah, hello.
Thank you for calling. Good morning, Mr. Yakub. I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, Chifiori.
Good morning.
Thank you very much, sir. Please give me a sign if you are listening to me, if you are hearing me clear, sir, because I couldn't hear you. If you
well, thank God we can hear you quite clearly. Go ahead.
You are hearing me. Yeah, good morning once again, Chifiori.
Okay, good morning.
You see, Chifiori, as my president said, in person of Mr. George, the president of this morning, I give him that chief. If 10 people call to this program this morning, I can tell you for the fact that out of 10, 9 of us will against the Minister of Power still remain that very particular office. That is the truth. You know, if the same thing happened to me as it happened to me, Mr. George, and so other people out in this country, I have a meter that I bought by myself with my personal money. The meter still working, and these people came to my office. They were telling me that the meter is outdated. They withdraw the meter. They were not telling me to go and buy another one. But me failing to buy another one, they are going to give me estimated bill worth of 30,000 naira.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, when I'm using my meter, less than 7,000 naira in a month. And they were not telling me they were giving us 30,000 or 25,000 naira in a month. Who does that? And then the minister did not say anything to do to that. When somebody buy meter by his money, it's not personal money, and then you came to withdraw it, and then you did not replace it. Another minister that I have challenged is Minister of Transportation. When Mr. President tell us that we should go by CNG, Mr. Yori, how much is the gadget of the CNG to convert a car to CNG car? Nobody give us roadmap. Because I could have I could enter any filling station in this country and then ask them to convert my car to CNG with a little amount of money.
Okay.
Because the petrol is so cost, if you can go back to CNG and then I enter a filling station, they told
thank you very much, Mr. Yakub, for calling in. Indeed, there are quite a number of problems. Are, okay, the time has been used up.
Yes, sir.
But there are quite a number of problems in terms of the expectation of the citizenry, especially as it has been said that it is what you wanted that we actually implemented. But a number of people speaking up now are saying that which time, when did I say so? Who consulted me? And if I had been consulted, this is not the result I would have achieved. Your closing remarks, sir.
Well, I think just for Mr. President to hear us that it's for the success of the country. My opinion is not based on the fact of ethnicity. It's based on national interest and development of the country.
Okay.
Let Mr. President take the baton of reviewing his appointees. Not Badiza Bala Mohammed. She's not in the mind of we the citizens. She might not even be so individually or personally enough to say she has the unitary or unilateral powers to determine who is performing or not. Because for our own duty post herself, is she equally performing? Are we reading his performance indicator? Is he giving us up-to-date information on his own duty, on our own duty post?
Mm-hmm.
So Mr. President should take up the duty of reviewing and reshuffling. And we still want Mr. President to go back to the drawing board, bring us a vigorative, structural, and well-determined minister.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there.
He has done much now. We want him to quickly do that as a matter of necessity.
Well, thank you very much, Are Oladotun Hassan. We're going to have to leave it there. Are Oladotun Hassan, President Yoruba Council, giving us his views on the recent shake-up. Well, maybe shake-up is not the way to refer to it. Reshufflement of the Executive Council. Thank you very much for coming on, Are. And I dare say we've not heard the last of this particular subject. We'll probably be taking a bit more on it as the days go by. Okay, so that's our program today then. Do please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition.